ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 In the last session, we covered quite a bit of ground, understanding the connections between the various uh, points of the spiritual journey, especially in terms of preparation. And we had to touch upon preparation because that was indicated there. How? By one word, atha. Remember that? One word, atha, brought in eligibility, qualifications for the knowledge, and all kinds of preparation. And this is what we have been looking at, and then therefore the the sage Ashvalayana, when he goes to the teacher, he is extremely very much prepared, very much prepared, and then that is basically the that is the idea that is conveyed over here. And so let us look at the text and see where we are. One second. We'll repeat up till now and then go further to see how much Ashvalayana already knew. And then the question also arises, how did he know what he already knew? How did he know that one had to go to the teacher? How did he know that there is such a knowledge called Brahma Vidya? How did he know that I have to ask for this knowledge? How did he know that all these things have, and he says a few other things about this knowledge. What is that? He uses the words Varishtham. Varishtham he uses. Varishtha means Shrestha, means the most exalted knowledge. So how did he know that it is indeed the most exalted knowledge? All these things, we can look at, because this goes to show the extent of the preparation that we have been talking about, indicated by the word atha. So I'm going to share the text now, and then we will see. One second. Yeah. Here we will share this text and then we will look at that. ॐ अथ आश्वलायनः भगवन्तं परमेष्ठिनम् उपसमेत्य उवाच अधीहि भगवन् ब्रह्मविद्यां वरिष्ठां सदा सद्भिः सेव्यमानां निगूढां यया चिरात् सर्वपापं व्यपोह्य परात् परं पुरुषं याति विद्वान्. This much we have to see. We have seen up till here. So what does he say? Adhihi Bhagavan. Adhihi Bhagavan. Adhihi means please teach me by recalling what it was like for you to be a student and what it was like for you to study. Because the truth is, there is nothing to recall now because the teacher is already abiding in the knowledge. Brahman is not something to be remembered. It is you. It is not based on memory, it is yourself alone, it is your own nature in which you abide. And so, therefore, there is no recalling here, but here, that which is not an object, please, as though recall and tell me how it was for you to study this and what all you learned from your teacher. You can just help me to understand how your teacher taught you. Please teach me in the same way because that is the only way, really. And like I said yesterday, there is not some kind of a, what's that, um, 20th century, 21st century sorrow is not different from 5th century sorrow. It's all sorrow. It's all sorrow, sorrow, sorrow only. And the prehistoric samsara of the caveman and the cave woman is not any different from this samsara. I'm sure they fought about the same things also. And so it's not, it's not any different. And so since this is the timeless knowledge for what? The timeless problem. And what is the problem? Atma Ajnanam parts 1 and 2. What is part 1? Part 1 is not knowing who I am and not knowing the truth of the self. Part 2 of Atma Ajnanam is therefore coming to a conclusion that I must be somehow compromised. I must not be enough. So the suffering from a sense of limitation, self-judgment, etc. is part 2 of this, and we have seen that. And so here, Ashvalayana says that he approaches and says, teach me this knowledge. And the knowledge is, what is this knowledge? It's the knowledge not of Brahman, as we have seen, it's the knowledge that is Brahman. It is not separate from Brahman. There is no off. Because as soon as you put the word off, you know what happens? As soon as you put the word off, then there is a duality. As soon as you put the word off, even for the sake of writing about it, we have to be very, very careful how we decode this word off. Because when you say knowledge of Brahman, there are two things, Brahman and the knowledge of Brahman. So it becomes, very quickly, it becomes objectified. So here we are looking at a knowledge not of Brahman, a knowledge that is Brahman. What is this Brahman? It comes from the root verb brihi vriddhau, that which is big. The word Brahman means that which is big. Big means what? Big is a relative word. Big is a relative word. If I say, please look at this big mustard seed, then you'll be looking somewhere. Where is this? Where is this? Is it mustard seed big? Or if I tell you, look at this huge mountain, big mountain. Now, big is a qualifier of other things in the universe, but here it is the Brahman is not a qualifier. It's not a qualifier of anything. In fact, it is not an adjective. Big is an adjective in our everyday parlance, but here Brahman is a noun. Yes, it is you. So big is here not an adjective. Very strange. Sanskrit is Vedantic grammar is it defies all rules. Big is Mahat means big. So Mahat means big. And then big means what? Big is qualifying whether it's a mustard seed big, lotus big, mountain big, pepper big. That is what it is. But here, Brahman is not qualifying anything at all. Brahman is itself noun big. So we can't even wrap our minds around it. How can big be a noun? Big what? Immediately, it is without, if it's without a substantive, there is a certain kind of a angst that immediately arises. Big what? I mean, it seems incomplete. Here, that which is big is free of all limitations. And we saw the threefold limitations yesterday: object wise, space wise, time wise, free of all the limitations. This is how the Tikakara, the writer of the Tika, talks about it. Big in terms of that which is free of all limitations means what? There's only one thing to say: limitlessly big. Now, limitlessly becomes an adverb for big. Limitlessly big, and big is the substantive here. Big is the substantive because it is the substance of everything. It is the vastu of everything. It is because it is there, everything big and small is. Because this bigness itself is. And that bigness, that big, that limitlessly big, there can be only one thing, and that is the self-conscious, self-aware individual you. There is no other Brahman than which is simultaneously Atma. Brahmatma alone is the Brahman which is Atma. So you mean Atma means I? Yes. And so I am limitlessly big. Exactly. Bingo. You got it finally. So this is all we have to say. But Ashvalayana knew this. As I said, how? How did he know this? Let us not forget, he is described in the Rig Veda as an Acharya of the Rig Veda. So even in the main portion of the Veda, which is a treatise of wish fulfillment, there are certain rituals, there are certain statements which talk about the oneness, which talk about how these rituals and these treatises of wish fulfillment are not the be all and end all of life. They are a stepping stone, a preparation to something bigger, something greater than the sum total of all the karma phalas that one can accrue as a result of all these what is that, rituals and seva and your karma yoga, etc., etc. So there is something that is not a karma phala, that is not the fruit of action. In fact, it has nothing to do with action. This Brahman which we are talking about is as much related to action as oil is to water. Oil and water you can never mix. Even in a salad dressing, they manage to remain separate. So therefore, this we have to see that this is not an ordinary knowledge. And how did he know? One explanation is he was the Acharya of the Rig Veda, and he knew this was a preparation, but he did not know what came next. And he knew there was Brahman, but he knew he had to study it systematically. And that is why he knew that we have to go to the teacher, because even to get the knowledge of rituals, you have to go to the teacher, the Purohit, the Pandit, whoever it is. And so he knew all this Paddhati, the Vidhi, the way of approaching the teacher, everything else. And he also knew a very, very important thing that we cannot reiterate enough, that Vedanta Jnanam, the knowledge of Vedanta, is not a product of action. This he knew. And this, how did he know? Again, because of his own eligibility. The Atha says everything. Atha means he must have been a very, very prepared person, prepared for this knowledge, well known, appearing in the Rig Veda, must have channeled some mantras also, and then well known lineage, etc. And then so here he says, this is the Vidya that I want. And he qualifies the word Vidya with a couple of words. What is that? Varishtha. Varishtham and Nigudham. Three phrases. Varishtha, Nigudha, and Sevyamana. Sadbhihi Sevyamana. So that Vidya which is Varishtha. Varishtha means the most exalted one. And Varishtha. And then Nigudha, that which is hidden. And then that which is Sada Sadbhihi Sevyamana. Sevyamana means that which is indulged in. Indulged in means that which is tasted by, that which is taken recourse to. By who? By the people who are committed to Sat. And this is what now I'm looking at the Tika, and the Tika says that the Varishtha means Atishayena Shreshtham. We saw that. Sada Nityam Sadbhihi. And who is this Sat? Sadbhihi means by the people who are Sat. Sat means existent. By the people who are existent means what? Non-existent people certainly are not going to look for Brahma Jnanam, are not going to be living this Brahma Jnanam. And so, who is this Sadbhihi? Sat means existent. So, Sadbhihi does not mean existent. Here it means the the same idea that is talked about in the what is that, Taittiriya Upanishad. And then what does it say? The one who says there is no Brahman. Brahma nasti. The one who says there is no Brahman. Asanneva sabhavati. Asad brahmeti vedachet. Asateva sabhavati. So the one who says what Brahman? There is no Brahman. How can there be something limitlessly big? And how can that be me? No. I don't accept that. There is no such thing as Brahman. There never was, there never is, there never will be. All that there is this life, and then I die away, and then one dies away, and that's all there is. If supposing someone were to say that, it would be a rank form of self-sabotage, a rank form of self-denial. So Sadbhihi means people who are not in denial. Asti brahmeti chedveda santamenam tato viduriti. Same Upanishad continues. Chet means supposing somebody were to say Brahma asti. You can't immediately say Brahma asmi. Aham Brahmasmi. That is a Mahavakya. That takes time to percolate. That takes time to assimilate. That takes a certain exposure to the teachings. So in the beginning, you can't say I am Brahman. Yes, there is something called Brahman. That is enough for us. Asti Brahma, not Asmi Brahma yet. Asti Brahma. It is here. It is this. Enough. That itself is wonderful. Asti Brahmeti Ched Veda. If somebody were to say, if somebody were to know that Brahman is the source of all existence, there is such a thing called Brahman, then Santamenam Tato Viduhu Iti. May the people and the people around such a person regard this person as existent, not only existent but exalted. Like they treat the person as though he or she were a saint. And so here, Sada Sadbhihi Sevyamanam means that which is indulged in, reveled in, and then abided in by who? By people who are who are one with Brahman, who understand Brahman. This is basically who have the Shraddha, and we'll be seeing that in detail, who have the trust that this Brahman is myself alone. Even though they may not fully know it as themselves, they are in the process of knowing it. And also, it includes people who already know it and who are abiding in it. So, Dehadishu Atma Buddhi Shunyaihi. Sadbhihi. What kind of Sadbhihi? Dehadishu Atma Buddhi Shunyaihi. Dehadishu means with reference to the body, the mind, the senses. Atma Buddhi Shunyaha. Atma Buddhi Shunyaha Taihi means Atma Buddhi Shunyaha means devoid of, the person who is devoid of the feeling that I am the body. The conviction, the identification with the body, the mind, and senses, the one who is devoid of that identification, and the conviction where the I rests is in the body, mind, sense complex, the one who is free of this wrong notion and this wrong conviction is called Dehadishu Atma Buddhi Shunyaihi. Shunyaihi means, Shunya means what? Devoid of. Devoid of the I notion, Atma Buddhi, the I notion with reference to the body, mind, sense complex. Body is thin, I am emaciated. Body is fat, oh no, I am fat. Body is tall, I am too tall. All these things are not there. Mind is sad, therefore I am also sad. That conclusion does not seep into the I. So those are the people who are enlightened, and who are enlightened of the enlightened means free from Atma Avidya. Sevyamanam. Sevyamana means Hridaye Dhriyamanam. Hridaye Dhriyamana means those who abide in this knowledge in the heart. Those who hold this knowledge in the heart, not with effort. Oh, I must remember I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. No, nothing to remember. It's you. For one whose abidance in this knowledge is effortless, such are the people who revel in this knowledge. So those are the two adjectives. First one was what? Varishtha. Second is Sada Sadbhihi. Sada means all the time, not once in a while. Sada means Nityam, all the time. And then the one in which the people who have given up the identification with the body, mind, sense complex revel. And so that was the second adjective to Brahma Vidya. The third adjective, he says, is Nigudham. Nigudham means what? Hidden. Why is it hidden? Because it's first of many reasons it's hidden. Atma is not an object. All the things that are finite are lying in front of me. Every object that I can see, that I can connect to, that I can hold, touch, taste, here is all what? Finite, 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 finite. It's all finite. And so these finite objects, I have no problem objectifying them. The only thing I cannot objectify is the infinite I, myself alone. Therefore, it is for lack of a proper pramana, meaning not that the pramana is not there. Shastra itself is a means of knowledge, but to understand the teachings, but lack of a proper pramana means this is not available to me. I don't understand this. I don't understand this. This is not available to me because I don't know that I have to go to a teacher. I don't know I have to do this. I don't know I have to gain this knowledge in this particular way. Nobody knows. And then, therefore, it is hidden. It is hidden because, first reason, it's not an object. Second reason, the means of knowing are not readily available unless one has done some Atma Vichara and then has gone to the teacher. The means of knowing that the Shastra itself is the means of knowledge is not available. Therefore, it is hidden. What is the third reason it is hidden? Many reasons are there why it is hidden. It is hidden because it's just like the rope snake. Rope is hidden because the snake comes in the way of my perception, my correct perception of the rope. What is the snake? The snake is my own projection. My own projections come in the way of my perceptions of the rope here in this example. Rope is Atma here. So So, in that which is exemplified, we say, my understanding of myself as limitless is as though hidden, covered, eclipsed by my wrong notions. I am an idiot. I have self judgment. I have fear. I have all kinds of limitations. I am subject to sickness. I am subject to death. I am subject to birth. These are the notions. Then, and because of these notions, the notions eclipse, as it were, the Atma, which is free, which is limitless, which is not an object. And the notions are what? Based on objectifying the body, mind, sense complex. So I see the body growing old, and I come to the conclusion, I grow old, I grow old. This is what T.S. Eliot said in, what was that poem? The Love Song of Alfred J. Prufrock. It's a very nice satire about the contemporary times, the vacuous life that people lead. And here is this one fellow who keeps saying this as a refrain. I grow old, he says. I grow old. Okay, so what are you going to do? I have to stand out somehow. So he says, I shall wear the bottoms of my trousers rolled. I grow old. So, like this kind of a vacuous existence, this vapid existence, so he is just totally identified with the body, mind, sense complex. Here we see an individual. And so similarly, this, here, this identification with the body, with the mind, with the senses makes it difficult to see that which is already obvious. That which is obvious is hidden from view because of so many reasons we have seen. We have seen because it is not an object, because it is myself alone, because any of the means of knowledge that I have in my hands, starting with direct perception, inference of all kinds, all these other means of knowledges are of no use to know this I. And number three, because of the wrong notions, which is part B of Atma Ajnanam. Atma Ajnanam cannot cause sorrow, really, because otherwise every dog, every cat will be sad. And if you were to persist and tell me, I have a dog, it is depressed, all I'll have to ask you is how long it has been with you. That's all I'll have to say. Okay, so that's the only thing to say. So basically, dog and cat won't be depressed. It is just not possible because there is no self-judgment. There are no complexes centered on the I. It is just a human, what should I say, blessing and a curse that we see. And so, therefore, what here we have to look at very, very carefully is that this, this knowledge, because it is hidden, is subject to many, many interpretations. Atma is hidden as though, as it were. In fact, what is, Atma reveals everything, but itself is not recognized. It is hidden for want of recognition. And so if we say the Atma is as though hidden, then that means it is subject to numerous interpretations. This is another reason why it is hidden. Somebody says Atma is the size of the body. Deha parimana Atma. This is the Jain view. And so the body gets dirty, Atma gets dirty. Body has to be cleansed, Atma has to be cleansed. This is what some people think. And whereas other people think there are many Atmas, like there are many bodies, there are many Atmas. This is the Nayayikas and the Sankhyas and all these people. They have very funny ideas about the Atma. Why? Because the Atma, nobody can say definitely this is what it looks like, this is the size, this is the shape. It's just not possible. It is arupaha, no form, agandhaha, arasaha, no smell, no taste, nothing. Apanipadam, it is, apanipadaha means it doesn't have legs or hands. And then so therefore it doesn't have jnanendriyas, it doesn't have karmendriyas, it doesn't have anything that you can objectify at all. Nothing it has. And so therefore one is one is confused. One is totally confused what this Atma is. And so even though and there are many interpretations, that's why it is, as it were, hidden. It is hidden due to the multiplicity of interpretations about the I that abound. So therefore, also it is hidden. Then the Tikakara will also give the reason why it is hidden. But then finally, why it is hidden? Because even though one is told, one doesn't understand. That is why it is hidden. Even though one is told, one doesn't understand. This is how the Upanishad survived all the years of colonization from Alexander not so great to not so great Britain in India's history. So from how otherwise it would have survived? Look at the rich compendium of knowledge which was undoubtedly there in many indigenous traditions. Whether we are talking of Native American or we are talking of Aboriginal or other indigenous traditions in New Zealand, Maoris, and in other places in Canada, etc. So whatever we are talking about, I'm sure they had bodies of knowledge. I'm sure that it was there, but it was all destroyed in a way because perhaps it did not have as tight a teaching tradition as this tradition has, as Vedanta has. So, if the teaching tradition was intact, perhaps they also would have survived. But here, the teaching tradition being intact, we have survived to live the tale. It has outlived all kinds of colonization, imperialism, capitalism, this ism, that ism, everything. It has survived every ism. And then why? Because it is that, because it is all other all other isms stand on this alone. Isms are mithya, is satyam. This is what we see. So finally, what is the reason? The reason it is hidden is because even though one is taught, one doesn't understand. So what to talk of if one translates something and then reads, that is whole, this is whole, you take the whole away from the whole, what remains is a big hole in the head, okay? Yeah, what remains is the whole. And it's a faithful translation. But what do we understand? It has to be interpreted. We need sampradaya, we need the shastra, we need the teaching. It is a heavily shastra dependent, teaching dependent knowledge, and so therefore it is hidden. If you just try to read about it, it is hidden. And then so let's see what the Tikakara says for this. Nigodham सर्वभूतेषु आत्मनि विद्यमानामपि अविद्यया नितरां संवृता. So, rahasya vidyam. So then here he says, Nigudha means sarva bhuteshu, in all beings, atmani vidyamanam api, even though it is there in all beings. Avidyaya, due to the self-ignorance. Nitaram samvritam, we have to add iva here. That's what is intended. Nitaram samvritam iva, with that which as though looks to be covered. Atma is never covered. That which can never be covered is Atma, but here he says that which is, as it were, we have to supply as though covered. And then, so he says, this is the third qualifier, hidden from view, because it is not objectifiable, it is you. Therefore, it is hidden from view. You cannot say, how big is my Atma? What does it do? Show me the limitlessness. You cannot see the limitlessness. Why? You can only be the limitlessness. You cannot see it. If you see it, then you are excluding yourself out of it. And so here it is uncreated, it's not a product, and it is not something that you can see. And so therefore, and then he not only knows Brahma Vidya enough to qualify it by three different adjectives, and he also says something with the effect of the prasada, the effect of studying this Vidya, what will happen when I study this Vidya, that also he appears to know. Very beautiful. That also he knows. And how does he know that? Let us read. It says that Yaya Brahma Vidyaya Achirat. Achirat. You see, there is a kind of avagraha in the text. Achirat means not too long hence. All the teachers of Brahma Vidya always make it vague. If you ask anybody, Bho Guru, what? When will I get this knowledge? When will I have moksha? When will I be free? When will I know that I am free, rather? Not too long hence. You find the Gita Acharya. Who is Gita Acharya? Lord Krishna saying that in the Bhagavad Gita. You find Lord Yama saying this in the Kathopanishad. And here also, Yaya Achirat. Achirat means not too long hence. But why don't they say in a few weeks so that I can look forward to it? In a few months, okay, fine. In a few years, something they should say. Why don't they specify? They don't specify because it is dependent upon you. It is dependent on your own preparation, your own eligibility, your own qualifications, because of which you can comprehend it and understand it and let go of the avidya. So therefore, it suffices it to say, the Upanishad suffices it to say that achirat yaya brahma vidyaya, because of which brahma vidya, achirat, not too long hence, means what? Adirghena kalena, not too long from now, time-wise. So sarva papam vyapohya. Vyapohya means dropping off, giving up. Sarva papam, what is sarva papam? All the omissions and commissions. This is what papa is. Papa means that whenever I have gone against dharma, then the uncomfortable situations which rise, which are there, that is called, the karma phala, the result of the karma that went against dharma. That is papa. Papa is uncomfortable situations in the here or the hereafter, which one encounters because of the fact that one has or had transgressed dharma. Dharma, the universal matrix of norms. And so, therefore, this is what is papa. And so, this is, we don't translate it as sin. In fact, there is only one sin, translating papa as sin. Okay, so there is no other sin. And so therefore, here we look at this very beautifully and say that these transgressions of dharma, because and how did the transgression of dharma take place? With my karma. So the karma phala, the results of action which accrue to me because I went against dharma, that is called papa. And then how much papa is there? How much karma does one have in one's account? Endless. Oh, I thought only Brahman is limitless. Yes, karma is also limitless. Karma phala, limitless. It is said if you have one human birth, then you have endless amounts of karma for endless amounts of janmas. But how can there be two endless, two limitless? If there is two limitless, each one is delimiting the other. How can you say karma is limitless, Brahman is limitless? I can say that because karma is mithya, Brahman is satyam. What is mithya? It is a dependent reality. It is a dependent reality. Mithya is not an object, it's not a name for an object. It points to the reality of an object, whether something is relative or absolute. This is what it is. And so, for example, if I say that, if I say pot is mithya, means what? Pot is dependent upon what? Clay. Clay satyam, pot mithya. There is no pot without clay. No clay, no pot. And what about if I have a brass pot? That's different. No brass, no pot. But some substance should be there. No clay, no pot. No gold, no ornament. Same idea. That without a substance, something cannot exist. No fabric, no shirt. No fabric, no shirt. No clay, no pot. No gold, no ornament. So in relation to the gold, the ornament is mithya. It is just a name and form, the substance of which is gold. Pot also a name and a form and a shape, the substance of which is clay. The shirt also is a name and a form and a shape, the substance of which, the truth of which is what? Fabric. So this is what we say mithya. So Brahma Satyam, Brahman is real, and then Jagan Mithya. Jagat is Mithya. One clever writer, poet, Vedantic poet, wrote this couplet. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha, Ardha Shlokena Pravakshyami, Yaduktam Grantha Kotibhihi. So Brahman is the truth, the Jagat is Mithya, Jagat is that which is dependent upon Brahman. In fact, the whole Jagat is nothing but Brahman with a name and form. And then what? Jivaha Brahmaiva na aparaha. This Jiva, this hopeless, hapless, helpless individual is Brahman alone, not other than Brahman. And he says, look, I have told in half a shloka what people take thousands and thousands of pages to write about. Very clever poet. And so here, this is what it is. So there is, so limitless karma means it is mithya. Karma is what? Brahman. Brahman is not karma. Pot is clay. Clay is not pot. Ornament is gold. Ornament rises from gold, is sustained by gold, goes back to gold. But gold is not ornament. Gold is gold. Ornament is gold. And in Vedanta, when we start speaking Vedantis or Vedantian, however you want to say it, language, then we have to see that it is always a one-way traffic. One-way traffic. Pot is clay. Clay is not pot. But why is not clay pot? Because clay can be on the side of the road in the form of a lump. Clay can be in the form of a Krishna figurine. Clay can be in the form of pot number 2, 3, 4. It doesn't always have to be in the form of pot number 1. So it can take many forms. Clay can also be in the form of a lid, a jar, so many things. And so therefore, therefore, pot is not free of clay. Clay is entirely free of being pot. The Jagat is not free of Brahman. Wherever you look, what is there? The infinite and the finite shine together, and we don't recognize the infinite. We only go for the objectifiable name and form, and we only go for the finite. And the infinite and the finite shine together. I choose the finite because I don't see the infinite, because I am the infinite. And so therefore, I make a mistake. This is the mistake. And so therefore here, the karma and the karma phala are also ultimately mithya. They too are dependent upon Brahman. And so therefore, we can say karma is limitless. Karma also comes to an end. Even though it's limitless, it comes to an end. And this is what he's exactly talking about, how it comes to an end. Yaya achirat, achirat, not long hence. Sarva papam vyapohya, all the dropping all the papas. Parat param purusham yati vidvan. The vidvan attains again in in apostrophes, air quotes. Why? What attains? As though attains. Why? Because one is already Purusha. The word Purusha is beautiful. The word Purusha means Ishvara. From Pr to fill. Sarvan Purayati. That which fills up everything with itself. That everything is an extension of this Purusha alone. Not Purusha is everything. Everything is this Purusha. Of course, the Purusha transcends the Jagat, but everything in the Jagat is this Purusha, is this Brahman alone, is this Ishvara. And so there is a correlation that we see. What is the correlation? The dropping of the papas and the gaining of this knowledge. The gaining of Ishvara as myself and the dropping of papas, there is a direct concomitant relationship. So what is that relationship? Very interesting. The papas, how do they get dropped? And here we have to trot off to the Mundakopanishad. Very famous verse there says, Vidyate hridaya granthihi chidyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante cha asya karmani tasmin drishte paravare. So there are three things that happen, the Mundakopanishad says, in the wake of this knowledge. When the avara means the one who considers oneself as an effect, avara. When the effect is what? When the effect is understood as what? As non-separate from the cause. Para. This is beautiful. Effect is non-separate from the cause. This is what we have been saying. What is what? Effect. What is cause? Clay. What is non-separate from clay? Effect is non-separate from cause. Jagat is non-separate from Brahman. Jagat is Brahman. And Jiva is also Brahman. So the effect, the so-called effect, is non-separate from the cause when the person understands through a committed study with the teacher and unfolding the Shastra, etc. Then what? Then Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. One who understands, and then what happens? So the three things happen. So para and avara, this is the one meaning. When tasmin Brahmani, in that Brahman, when one sees both para and avara. In that Brahman, one sees the cause, Ishvara, one sees the effect, Jagat. And who is the seer? Ishvara. So one sees both. In that same Brahman, Tasmin Brahmani, the one who is able to understand the cause and the effect are one. Then when that happens, or we can say para is that which came before and avara that which came after. That also we can say. But this cause effect is wonderful. When one understands that the effect is non-separate from the cause, miracles happen. Bhidyate hridaya granthihi. The heart knot is torn asunder. Knot, knot. Okay. Yes. And this knot is very naughty. Naught. What is this knot? This knot is ajnanam. The ajnanam is like a knot in the heart. It is like a stone on the chest. There is a heaviness. There is like a dragging. Oh, one more day, blah. Again, I have to get up. Again, I have to go to work. Same old, same old, same old. And what is there? Why do I feel like this? When will I know Brahman? This is gone. The broods of Atma Ajnanam in the form of pain, sorrow, desire, action, and then results of action is all taken care of in the wake of this knowledge. And then so Vidyate Hridaya Granthihi, that's the first thing happens. And then the second thing happens is Chidyante Sarva Samshayaha. all the various difficulties and the doubts, etc., are all taken care of. The doubts are gone. Chidyante sarva samshayaha. All the doubts are gone. Then final promise is what? Kshi, Kshiyante cha asya karmani. Asya purushasya, this person's, this jiva's karmas get worn out. They wear out their welcome. The karmas disappear in the wake of this knowledge. Like how? Like if you dream, if you have a dream that three fellows are chasing you with clubs in their hands, big, huge clubs in their hands, they are chasing you. This isn't a dream, mind you. And what are you doing? You're trying to outrun them. Run, 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 run. Still, you just look back. You're even afraid to look back. They are, in fact, closer. They are closer than when you last look back. Oh my God, I have to run faster. I have to run harder, but I can't. I'm exhausted. I am out of breath, but still I run, 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 run. And they have caught up. Oh my God, I'm feeling the club of the first one. I'm about to feel the club of the next. Saying like this, one is thrashing in one's bed. And some loved ones, the family members, take pity on this person, wake them up and give them a glass of water. Oh, don't worry. This must have been a bad dream. You are okay. Look, you are here with your family. You are okay. Nothing bad is happening. Wake up, drink this water. And then you wake up and then you drink the water. And then what do? Do you start running again? No. When you wake up, there is no need for running because that is falsified. That whole world where you were outrunning these three fellows is falsified. It's falsified in the waking state because the waking state falsifies the dream state. And similarly, the Atma Jnanam, the being in Atma Jnanam falsifies the Ajnana. The ajnana and everything that one did during when one was not having self knowledge, in the clutches of self ignorance, whatever one did is all just cancelled out, scratched out completely. It is so beautiful, just like waking up from a horrible horror story dream. So what happened to the three fellows? Well, one was called Sanchita, one was called Agami, one was called what? Prarabdha. All of them disappeared. Why? Because the runner disappeared. The one who was running stopped running and woke up instead. And so the runner means the karta, the one who is the doer, disappeared. And when the doer disappears, what is done also disappears. The karta disappears, therefore the karma phala, which is accruing to the account of the doer, disappears. If supposing somebody dies, in the middle of the election, when the voting is going on, let's say a candidate dies and still gets the vote and wins the election. No possibility. Who do those votes belong to? Nobody. That person is not there to claim them. Similarly, the person of knowledge is not claiming the karma. Why? Because that karma was done when I had the notion that I was the karta. Now I have woken up from that nightmarish kartritvam, from this nightmarish misunderstanding that I am the doer, and from this nightmarish misunderstanding, when I have woken up, then all the results of action are as good as gone. They are dropped. Sarva papam vyapohya. Just giving that up, letting it all drop in the wake of this knowledge. That's what happened to Valmiki. Valmiki was famous, very famous. Even before he wrote Ramayana, he was very famous. In fact, we have to add an in front of it. He was infamous. He was infamous. And why? Because he was adept at giving people instant vairagya from their possessions. and sometimes from their life also. And so he just would lurk around the forests in between two towns, tradesmen, business people, whoever was going, stand and deliver. And then he would just trouble them and terrorize them and rob them. This is how he led his life. But then, when he gained this knowledge, thanks to sage Narada, who teaches him, when he gains this knowledge, there is no longer all the karmas that he has done, it no longer accrues to this account at all. Very beautiful. All the karmas are gone. Tasmin drishte paravare. Tasmin brahmani. When I see paracha, aparacha, when I see the cause and the effect is non-separate from the cause, and as though cause, as though effect, all that is there is one thing that has as though morphed into cause, as though morphed into effect. The karma cannot touch me. Karma is a model. It is there to build the concept of self accountability and dharma, etc. And the model works only as long as it's needed. One does not need, what is that, if one can walk, if one is no longer has a broken leg, one does not need crutches. You just let go of the crutches. You happily throw the crutches into the air. I can walk now. I don't need the crutches. Karma is a model like the crutches to help one walk properly. When one knows how to navigate this world dharmically, the karma resolves. So therefore he says, Yaya Brahma Vidyaya Achirat Adirghena Kalena Sarvam Papam Nikhila Dukkha Karanam. Nikhila Dukkha Karanam, that which is the cause of all kinds of sorrow. And here the Tikakara gives a wonderful explanation of Papa. What is the Papa? Ajnanam. Ajnanam is the Papa here. Ajnanam means the only quote unquote omission is not taking the time to know the truth of myself. That is the Papa. Ajnana gone in the wake of this knowledge, Papa gone. And he says, Samskaram cha. So Ajnana is part A, Atma Ajnanam, I do not know the truth of myself. Samskaram cha means the part B. All the notions, I am an idiot, I'm not, uh, I'm not good. And then um, I am the I am the I am subject to limitations. I am the abode of finitude. All these notions are gone. Samskaram cha, the samskara of ajnana is what? Anyatha jnanam. All kinds of wrong notions to which I am aligned, I am no longer identified. Vyapohya, V plus a, all this is there. So, vyapohya, vividham parityajya, vinashayet ityarthaha. So, having given up, and then the author, the Tikakara, understands it's not really giving up, it is just that which happens. It happens in the wake of knowledge. One is not consciously giving anything up. Vinashayet means that which gets destroyed in the wake of knowledge. Then what happens? Parat sarva jagat karanat param utkrishtam. So parat means the first para is sarva jagat karanam, that which is the cause of the universe. Ishvara, parat param means even more exalted. Oh my God, how can something be even more exalted than Ishvara? And then he says, Ajnana ashraya vishayatvabhyam paripurnam purusham. So, what he says is that this is the Utkrishtam. It is not stopping at, and we'll see this in the next session, it's not just stopping at Tatastha Lakshana, it is transcending to Swarupa Lakshana. Tatastha Lakshana means understanding Ishvara as the cause of the universe, and then that that is something to relate to and grow, and then ultimately the knowledge is the knowledge is seeing the non-difference between myself and Ishvara. And if I keep looking at Ishvara as the Sarvakaranam, Jagat Karanam, Brahma, as the cause of the universe, I can never see the oneness. Ishvara is all knowledge, and I am struggling to spell the word omniscient. Okay, and so how can I be the same as Ishvara? So obviously, the Mahavakya operates on a different, different level, and so that is seeing Ishvara as the truth of myself, seeing Ishvara as Shuddha Chaitanya, as not, not Maya avachinna Chaitanya, the not conditioned by Maya Shakti, the one who is like a magician who can project, sustain, and take back the world. That Ishvara, that aspect of Ishvara, I have nothing in common with. But then what do I transcend the Maya, I transcend the Jagat to see that what is the truth of this is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, is myself alone, is that which is existent, and that which is total, that which is full, that which is myself. And that is what is called Parat Parapurusham. Yati means, what is that? Cannot mean attains. Yati goes. No, already understands, already has gone. It's one is already free, one is already the Purusha, but uncovers this knowledge. So yati means goes, meaning it's a symbolic, metaphorically goes. Ahameva soham asmi iti sakshat karavan. The one who has made this a reality. I am this Ishvara alone. Nothing other than that is possible. The one who has made this a reality, that is the one, that is the effect of this knowledge. See how much Ashvalayana knows. Even while he is asking the teacher for the knowledge, he has instructed us about Satyam, about Mithya, about Karma, about Dharma, so many things. This is just really, really amazing. And in the next session, we'll see what the teacher, how the teacher replies and what the teacher has to say. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. After the next session, I'll take some questions. So that will be there in about 25 minutes. All the best. Om Tat Sat.